So you asked for me to show you how to layer in the e-collar and do some e-collar conditioning. A lot of people have misinterpreted the e-collar and what it's for. This is Ranger. He's my best hunting dog. He is a flusher and retriever and tracker. I use the e-collar as a wireless leash. I can call my dog back without having to yell or scream. I can call him back when he's far enough away he can't hear my voice, and he only needs to hear the tone that comes from his collar. When used appropriately, it is not a tool that we're out here abusing our dogs with. Are corrections given in certain circumstances? Yes, but if you've done your training right, your dog most likely is not gonna need corrections unless it is in like a very highly distracted state. Maybe if it's chasing deer or something like that, then you might need to up the intensity. But under most circumstances, if you've done your training well, you're not even going to need to give a correction or stim. So Ranger has been trained to tone. So right now, I did not bring my training only collar. So he's wearing my GPS collar. So I have the Alpha 100, and that's Ranger there. So you see well, maybe you can't see it, but it says T. That's T for tone. So I'm just gonna beep that 3 times. Good boy. Good boy. Break. And I've called him back from a quarter mile away. I don't typically work him that far away, but there have been times where I've let him wander out, and I can keep track of where he's at and how far away he is, and I can call him back from, well, this will let me go up to 4 miles, but he would never be that far away unless somebody stole him in the car. So I wanted to show you with a dog that already understands. Murphy has only been exposed to the e-collar maybe once or twice, so we'll get started with him and see how the first day of training goes for him. Ranger, come on. Like I said, I have to do this all in one take because I don't have video editing equipment, and so I'm sorry, but you gotta have a little 1 minute delay here. Hey Ranger, can you kennel? Good boy. Let me take that off your neck. All right, now let's work with Murph. Good boy. So for the e-collar training, obviously you need an e-collar, and you need to understand the concept of how it's going to work. Most of these collars, I'm going to set you down. Sorry, guys. Most of these collars have a tone, a vibrate, and stim. You're going to need to trial this with your dog as an individual to see what they need. Some dogs are actually, like for some dogs, vibrate is much more intrusive than the stim at a low level. I use an e-collar on all of my dogs. We're gonna start working with Murphy here now. I have an English setter that is deaf, and I give her hand signals. That's how we communicate, but also I have trained her to the e-collar. She's a setter, so she runs hundreds of yards out, and sometimes she can't see me, so I can vibrate her neck and she will come back. If she doesn't respond to the vibrate, sometimes she doesn't feel it when she's sprinting. She responds to a level 2 on the Garmin Alpha 100, which is very low. I don't stim my dogs with anything higher than I have stemmed myself, just so we know what we're doing with the dogs. And they're typically responsive. If you get more than one type of track and train, these are track and trains, they're GPS that he's wearing, but I also have a training only. You need to do your testing on your dog with both sets, because my track and train is much stronger. For instance, Ranger that was out earlier, on the track and train, he needs a level 3 or 4 for stim corrections, whereas on the Garmin Delta XC, which is a great unit if you're looking for a unit, it has a half-mile radius on it. It doesn't have GPS, it's strictly for training, but Ranger needs like a 6 or a 7 on that, so they're not equally distributing power, I guess, if there's a better way to put that, but just double check if you get more than one system. So let's see, we're gonna begin to teach Murphy to recall to tone. So if you watched the video on how to train your dog to recall, you remember we had the dog on a lead, and we called to them, and if they didn't come, we started pulling on them on the leash. We're going to do the same thing, except instead of calling to them, we're going to tone. And initially, they're going to be on the leash, and we're going to teach them that when that beeps, they need to come to us. So that's how you start this training. Let me see if I can get you guys set up so that you can observe this. As you can tell, I am very much an amateur. Okay, so let's get Murph out here. I have this set up for my deaf dog who can't hear. I should have set this up for you guys before I got started. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to tone it. I've done this once or twice with Murphy. I can't say confidently whether or not he understands the concept yet, so I'm hoping that it's good for you guys. But I'm going to beep at him. And he's starting to come. There's no hustle there. So that's something I'm going to work on with him. Yes. Good boy. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to put some dog food out on the ground for him as a distraction to keep him busy for a second so that I can actually walk away, because he's a Velcro dog and he wants to be attached to me. And as soon as I see, I'm going to beep. Now, I'm beeping him and I'm calling him into me. Yes. Good boy. So that's how it's going to start. As soon as you realize, or as soon as you know your dog understands the command, there you go. This is where we're going to start testing the stem. So here, yes. So the better hustle. I slipped up and I actually said here there out of habit. So we're going to do that one more time. I'm toning him. Yes, good boy. So you would be applying pressure with the leash if your dog wasn't coming. Like I said, he has worked on this a little bit. It seems like he's a smart boy. He's figuring it out faster than I thought he would. But this is where you would unclip your lead, and you need to find your dog's stem threshold, and you want to start at the very bottom. So I'm going to do that with you guys watching. So I'm going to drop down to a 1, and I'm going to look for body language. I'm going to check to see if an ear twitches, if he turns his head toward the collar, or jolts. Anything that might indicate to me he has felt this stem. Ah, yes. I saw his eyes close, he tilted his head down, and he looked at me. So I'm going to start with a 1 on him. I'm going to believe him that he's recognizing this. Later on, if your dog's not responding to you, that is when you will go up in stem incrementally. We are not out here to, shock our dogs. These devices can go up high enough to hurt, but when used appropriately, you should check it on yourself. Get over your fear of a little stem, because it's not what you think it is. At a low level, pinching yourself hurts worse. So at a level 1, he gave me some body language that indicated to me he felt that. So what I would do is try to call him with a tone. And if he's not coming, make sure you have it set on continuous on the lowest level stem possible. You're going to hold down your stem just like you were with your lead when you were pulling. And the moment that dog turns to come to you, let go of that pressure. You can reward them when they get to you, but that's the reward, is turning off that pressure, letting them know coming to me turns off the pressure. And that's why we don't start this until they've shown you with the lead that they know how to turn off the pressure. So right now, Murphy is running down to the pond we were at earlier. I'm going to press and hold tone. He's not coming, so now I'm holding stem. He's coming to me, so I let go of the stem. If he got distracted, I'm going to stem again. and he's not coming. So, well, now you decided. Yes, good boy. So that's what I mean when I say it becomes your wireless leash. So I'm actually gonna bump that up to a 2 for him. I know that a 2 is not intense because that's the baseline level that my setter needs in order for her to listen. I didn't like the hustle. The stim that I gave him was not sufficient to create that. It is aversive, but it's not painful. But that aversive experience, the correction, to say, you know what, I need to get to dad, or no, I don't want to be a fur daddy, but I need to get to my owner, my master, quickly. So, sit. Yes. I'm gonna step away from him, and then I'm gonna tone. Good boy, yes. So that is how we're gonna teach recall via tone. It's very simple. For a lot of dogs, the tone itself is an annoyance, and you can press and hold the tone until they're coming to you. And again, release that pressure when they're coming to you. If they're not, then you're gonna need to decide whether to use vibrate or stim. Make sure you pay attention to body language. I have a friend whose dog strongly dislikes the vibrate. If he gives his dog a vibrate correction, she'll come running to him, tail between her legs, visibly uncomfortable. Meanwhile, he tones her, and if she doesn't come immediately, he can give her a level 2 stim, and she comes running to him happy, tail in the air, body language in a great positive manner. She understood the message. I need a little more hustle. So we're paying attention to our dogs. He has a nubbin, so it's wagging though. Good boy. We don't want to put enough pressure on our dogs that we're bringing them in with tucked tails. So essentially that's training recall to tone. But once you start teaching your dog this, you're opening the door to allow the e-collar to become a tool for you, and that allows you to give the tool importance, and you can give precedence to corrections. For instance, another example would be teaching the word no. If your dog's counter surfing, trying to get stuff off the counter, and you're saying no, I mean, unless there's a consequence to that, what incentive do they have to stop counter surfing? So when they say no, and you hold down your stim at a low level, that annoyance is going to get the dog is going to get the picture. They're going to get down, and that can give weight to some of your commands. Similarly, when you're training things like sit or down, sit, there are going to be times when when your dog's distracted and may not want to listen to you. Now that command carries weight. You have a way to reinforce it. Obviously, if I'm sitting right here and he's not listening and I tell him to sit, I'm going to sit him down. But if I've asked him to stay at place and I've walked away, or if I tell him to come here and he's not coming, now I have a way to give a correction. And I hope that that makes sense. Ask questions if you have any. I'm sure that I've missed something. I'm going to rewatch this training video, and if I have further thoughts, I'll plug it into the next one. Again, this is just a series on me training Murph